I made 20 survivor perks all by myself, and they all turn out awesome. What's up everyone, and today I will be going through a bunch of perk ideas for the survivor role that actually turned out pretty amazing. These perks are not intended to be meta breaking by any means, and they're all just fun ideas that is either universal or situational. Make sure to follow me on Twitch and hit that subscribe button below. And without further ado, let's get going. Let's start off with the first perk, Spiritual Presence. For every hook stage, your healing speed is increased by 10%, while your maximum healing cap is 120%. This is a great way to passively increase your healing speed if the game is going rough. It makes resetting after unhooking people way easier. And it's also balanced for everyone, since the healing speed is capped at 120. Moving on to the next one, Counterable Strength. For every generator that is completed, you drop pallets 25% faster. This could potentially be a lifesaver if you have a tendency to pre-drop pallets, or if you're just generally at an unsafe loop. To make sure that this won't be too harsh against the killer, the full effect should only be given when the game is at a later stage, as 25% increased pallet drop speed won't really be too much to make the early game unfair. This is probably the most situational perk I've ever made, and it's called Reverso. When you're opening an exit gate, the progress on the other gate will be equal to 75% of the progress on your gate. Since you're basically opening both doors, it can allow survivors to do other things like healing each other or looking for no-it. Mathematically, this perk could be a little tricky to code. So if anyone at Behavior is watching this and understands the gist of it, I advise to implement this. Up next, we got Dead Weight. When the killer is carrying you, their movement speed will be decreased by 15%. However, the wiggle progress bar takes 12% longer to fill up. The intention of this perk is to waste more time for the killer and not help the survivor wiggle off easier, as I think we already have enough perks for that. This would be an opposite perk of Agitation and would low-key be fun to see how it would play out. Next up, we got Insightful Angel. If you're hooked, your teammates benefit from these following effects within a 16-meter radius around you. Movement speed increased by 6%, and unhooking speed increased by 30%. If someone else is hooked, you benefit from these following effects within a 16-meter radius around them. If you hate going against tunneling killers like Huntress who always try to secure kills early, this perk could make saving survivors way less stressful, especially if you're two people. If paired with Will Make It, this perk is gonna be shaving off time when going for unhooks. If you have ever thought about giving your teammates your sprint burst, then Runaway is a perfect match. If you get down close to multiple survivors within a 6-meter radius, the survivor's movement speed increases to 150% for 3 seconds. I can see this perk shine in situations where both you and your duo is running away from a gen after the killer sniffed out your location. Unfortunately for you guys, you're both injured. But if you take the hit for your duo, he can get away safely and survive, unless you got 100 miles per hour blight coming behind you. For everyone that ran Resilience with Spine Chill, here is Accomplished Engineering. After you have repaired a generator, you gain 10% vault speed. This effect lasts until you lose a health state. I can imagine this perk becoming a staple in everyone's chase build. If you complete repairing a generator while being injured, you will probably zoom through walls, making you
fast as fuck, boy.
This perk is actually the first and only boon perk on here, Boon Detective. After placing the boon and being in the boon area, you and everyone else in the area can see the killer's aura for 5 seconds. This perk has a cooldown of 45 seconds, and if the boon totem gets snuffed, everyone can see the killer's aura for 4 seconds. Having control over the killer's aura can make giving callouts easier and more efficient. But it literally creates another boon perk that is actually valuable. This could potentially be abusable in public games, but at the same time, it would be a pretty nice perk to have. This is the most weird perk I've ever made. I introduce Audio Desync. After triggering a loud noise notification, the killer only gets notified after 2 seconds of the action being triggered. This perk has a cooldown of 20 seconds. This could be an insanely fun perk that meshes well with other perks like Deception and Quick and Quiet. In Chase, this would not really be much, since the killer can always hear the action you are performing if they're close enough. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this perk throw a lot of killers off, especially when you have a little distance over them. A perk that is similar to the fifth one, Here's Beacon of Light. After the exit gates is powered, these following effects are provided to you if you're close to generators in a 10-meter radius. 12% increased healing speed, and you get to see everyone's aura. The endgame is usually the greatest threat to your chance of escaping. Having the ability to both see everyone and be able to heal faster can change the outcome of you getting destroyed or not. We are bringing Iron Will back with this one, boys. Here is Pain Adaptation. Every time you're hit, you get a token up to a maximum of 4 tokens. For each token, your grunts of pains are reduced by 25%. This perk does not stack with any other perks. If you're hooked, you lose a token. It's like Iron Will, but you have to work for it. Amazing! Being silent 100% of the time while injured is something that I miss about old DBD. It allowed for so many funny texts that is not possible today, and that's kinda sad. So bring this perk into the game or I'ma fucking smash. This one is a little confusing, and it's called Visual Heartbeat. Every time the killer reads your aura, it's switched with Killer Instinct, and you have the ability to feel all killer's instincts on you and see it visually. For those who just got really confused right now, I'm gonna explain it. So every time the killer sees your aura, like for example with barbecue or floods, the aura is replaced with a Killer Instinct instead. So the killer will rather see your Killer Instinct than your aura. But if the killer is seeing you with their Killer Instinct, like for example Legion using their power or Ghostface getting revealed, you get a visual cue on your body that the killer is seeing you through its Killer Instinct. It's just a fun perk idea, really. I mean, it would be hell for Huntress, but really fun for survivors. Yes, this is in fact an activation perk, and it's called Cold-Hearted. If you are in the killer's terror radius for 40 seconds without being in chase, you get to activate the perk. When this perk is activated, you benefit from these following effects for 7 seconds. You don't make any scratch marks, you leave no pools of blood, and your grunts of pains is reduced by 100%. This could help survivors get out of situations where they are injured, but they hear the terror radius coming closer. So if they activate this perk, it's easier for them to hide whenever they want. Pretty neat, huh? The next one up is Sneaky Tactician. The perk increases the speed of slow vaulting pallets, windows, and slowly entering lockers by 25%. I don't really know why I made this, but it seems fun. You could probably mind game the killer if you're smart enough. I really don't know. It sounds really fun, and I want this. If this perk right here actually gets added one day, I'm not even joking, behavior, I'm donating $100 to whatever charity you guys want me to donate to. No joke, please! Please add this, please! This next one is called Hitting a Pulse, and it's not an exhaustion perk. After a killer takes a health state from you, your scratch marks and pools of blood explodes in a 5-meter radius around you. Essentially, the killer will not be able to track your movement at first through your scratch marks, but they can still use audio cues to find you, so it's balanced. This will probably only be useful on indoor maps and probably jungle gyms, but as long as you clear the killer's line of sight from you, you could probably vanish from him. This is a COD Zombies inspired perk, and it's called the Mystery Box. If a chest is opened and empty, you can use your activation button to try your luck. One of these outcomes will happen. You get a yellow/green item, you become exposed for 20 seconds and scream, you gain the endurance effect for 30 seconds if you're injured, you get a special map that allows you to see every aura on the map except the killers, or you become oblivious for 30 seconds. There is a lot to this perk, and I don't really know how balanced my depiction of this idea even is. It's similar to dramaturgy, but it's forcing you to find a chest. I think on paper, this sounds really cool, but in execution, I'm a little scared if this will either be too broken or not even have any effect at all. But it's definitely a fun perk idea that doesn't really seem stale at all, and I think it would be worth to try and implement this into the PTB. We are back at the hook perks, and this one is called Sharp Resilience. Every time a killer picks you up, every hook within an 8-meter radius becomes blocked by the entity for 8 seconds. For those who don't know, the base wiggle timer for survivors is 16 seconds, and with breakout is 12.8 seconds. I know you might think that this will be insane for Sabo builds, but remember, If the hooks are blocked, there is no way to even sabo them. And if the hooks are too far away, you can just wait for the closest hook to be unblocked. This perk in particular was pointed out by Twitter to be the most broken of them all. By the way, go follow me there. But I think it just puts killers into a position where they can either risk going for a hook further away, or the killer can just wait for the hooks to be unblocked. I don't know. For me, it's a 50-50. This perk right here was intended to make the luck mechanic more useful, and feeling lucky surely does that. Get 10% luck. The luck mechanic also benefit these following things. Great skill check zones are increased by the percent amount of luck you have on healing actions and repairing generators. The chance of triggering a skill check is increased by plus 10% plus the percent amount of luck you have on healing actions and repairing generators. And the more luck you have, the chance of getting a rare item in a chest is increased. A lot of people don't like RNG in Dead by Daylight, but these small changes would make luck at least an okay game mechanic. It's not too busted, it makes the survivor's quality of life better, and luck actually feels like a relevant game mechanic with this perk. The next one is Forest Whisper. Every time you disturb crows, they fly towards the direction of the killer. When the crow is disturbed, you can see their aura until they disappear. The amount of crows on the map is increased by 20%, and crows spawn back 30% faster after being disturbed. Crows are also a game mechanic that also feels like it has been forgotten, and it's definitely outdated. This perk would make crows actually fun to interact with. The information it gives is solid, but it's not something game-breaking. The last perk on this list is actually the dream perk for solo queue survivors who always queue up with clawed players. And it's called Focused Mind. When you crouch for 7 seconds, you get to see the nearest survivor's aura, and all survivors see your aura as well. This perk is deactivated when you stop crouching. I think we can all agree that getting an Urban Invader, self-care, holding sprint burst forever clawed player is very frustrating. So, with this perk, you can find where the claw is, and you can bring the killer to her so she learns that hiding is never and fucking up. All jokes aside, the intent of this perk is whenever a survivor is getting chased and is close to you, they can see that you're right beside them. And if there's a gen close by, they can take the killer away to a different area so you can work on the gen like the little good DBD player you are. And that is going to wrap up all the 20 DBD survivor perk ideas that I came up with. Make sure to like and comment what perk idea was the coolest. Personally, I love them all because all of them were fucking great. And shout out and thank you to Baskin, God, Keith, Lacey, and Bar for helping me with this video. I gotta be honest, I did not come up with everything myself. So shout out to Baskin for helping me with some of these perk ideas. And go and follow him on Twitch, he makes great content. And that's all, I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.